Night falls over Los Angeles, the city of dreams, glittering with neon and noise, suddenly hides something unbearable. On September 8th, 2025, at a Hollywood impound lot, a mechanic opening a Tesla for routine inspection recoils in horror. Inside the front trunk, tightly sealed in bags, lies the dismembered remains of a teenage girl. Within hours, police confirm the car is registered to rising music star David Anthony Burke, known to millions as D4vd. The same young artist, whose voice filled TikTok and Spotify playlists, whose ballads made fans cry, now stands in the shadow of an unimaginable crime scene. The victim is identified: Celeste Rivas Hernandez, 15 years old, missing since 2024. For her family, the wait for answers ends in tragedy. For investigators, questions multiply. Why was her body in his car? How long had it been there? And what was the true connection between Celeste and D4vd? The discovery explodes across newsrooms. Tours are canceled. Collaborations vanish overnight. On social media, speculation burns like wildfire. But amid the noise, one fact remains. A teenager's life ended, and her remains were hidden in the vehicle of a global star. This is not just the story of a missing child found. It is a case of fame colliding with horror, a mystery where every new detail feels stranger than fiction. Celeste Rivas Hernandez was only 15. She came from a Latino family in Los Angeles. Like many teenagers, she had dreams far bigger than her age. Friends remember her as lively, restless, and fascinated by music. But her life took a darker turn in 2024, when she suddenly disappeared. At just 13, she became one of countless names on the list of missing children, her family pleading for answers that never came. Across the city, a very different life was unfolding. David Anthony Burke, stage name D4vd, was ascending rapidly. From a Houston bedroom where he first recorded songs to worldwide stages with millions of streams, he was painted as the new voice of Gen Z melancholy. His song, Romantic Homicide, had gone viral, placing him under a spotlight few teenagers could endure. By 2025, he was collaborating with global artists, standing on the edge of mainstream stardom. The contrast between Celeste and D4vd could not be starker. A missing girl lost in silence and a young star lost in noise. But investigators would soon learn that their worlds were not as separate as they appeared. Celeste's relatives once mentioned she had a boyfriend named David. On her finger, a tattoo reading "Shh" mirrored the same ink found on the singer's own hand. For detectives, these were not coincidences but threads pulling the two lives together. To fans, D4vd's image was carefully curated, quiet, artistic, mysterious. To Celeste's family, the sudden suggestion of his involvement was devastating. The possibility that their daughter might have been tied, in life and in death, to a global celebrity blurred the line between music idol and criminal suspect. It left investigators with pressing questions. Was this a secret relationship gone wrong? A chance encounter that ended in tragedy? Or something more deliberate, more disturbing? From the moment the Tesla was opened, the case spiraled into a storm. Detectives in Los Angeles worked around the clock, piecing together what little evidence the decomposed remains could still yield. The medical examiner confirmed the body had been inside the car for a long time, possibly months. That fact alone raised suspicion. How could a world-touring artist not notice or not report something hidden in his own vehicle? 5 details soon emerged, each more unsettling than the last. First, the body wasn't found in the back seat or even the trunk. It was in the front trunk, a hidden compartment rarely used except by those who know Teslas well. Second, the remains were dismembered and placed in heavy plastic bags, a deliberate act suggesting someone tried to conceal the crime. Third, investigators noted the small tattoo on Celeste's finger, the word "shh," matching the one branded on D4vd's own hand. Fourth, whispers from Celeste's family resurfaced. Her boyfriend named David. The coincidence now screamed for attention. And fifth, the digital trail posts deleted, subreddits locked, comments vanishing, suggested someone was trying to manage the narrative online. On September 18th, the Los Angeles Police Department raided a Hollywood Hills home where D4vd had been staying. Computers, hard drives, and notebooks were seized. Neighbors watched as evidence bags left the house, fueling rumors that the case was about to explode. Meanwhile, prosecutors remained silent. Despite the shocking scene, D4vd was not arrested, at least not yet. For fans, disbelief turned to rage. Social media platforms erupted with theories. Some insisted the singer was innocent, a victim of circumstance. Others painted him as a predator hiding in plain sight. Every silence from law enforcement only amplified the speculation. The deeper the investigation went, the more it felt like two stories colliding. The story of a child erased from life, and the story of a star who could no longer control the stage. When the news broke, it wasn't just an investigation. It was a cultural earthquake. D4vd had been marketed as a poetic loner, a quiet genius shaping Gen Z's sound. Now, his name was bound to a decomposed body in his car. Overnight, brand deals disappeared. Collaborations froze. His American tour, once sold out, was canceled with a single announcement. The industry that had built him up suddenly cut all ties, terrified of being dragged into a scandal of this scale. For Celeste's family, the collapse of his image meant little. They had already lost what mattered most. Still, they watched with anger as fans online tried to defend the singer. On TikTok and Reddit, supporters claimed it was all coincidence. They pointed fingers at haters, at police corruption, at conspiracy theories, but for others, the parallels were too many to ignore. A missing girl with a boyfriend named David, a tattoo that matched, a body hidden in a car tied to his name. Media outlets poured gasoline on the fire. Every headline framed him as a suspect, even though legally he was not charged. Commentators dissected his lyrics, some of which mentioned death, silence, and secrets. Were these just artistic choices or chilling reflections of something darker? The blurred line between art and reality had never seemed more dangerous. On stage, D4vd had once sung about heartbreak. Now, silence was his only performance. His social media accounts went dark. Fans searching for answers found deleted posts and locked forums. That silence became its own kind of confession in the eyes of the public. The case no longer belonged only to investigators. It belonged to everyone. To the grieving family, to millions of fans, and to a society forced to ask, how well do we ever really know the people we idolize? For detectives, the discovery of Celeste Rivas in D4vd's Tesla raised more mysteries than it solved. The timeline was fragile. How long had she been inside the car? Reports suggested months, but no one could pinpoint the moment she disappeared from the world and ended up in that trunk. Then came the forensic gaps. Who had access to the Tesla? Was it D4vd himself, his entourage, or someone using the car without his knowledge? Investigators probed GPS data, security footage from the impound lot, and even neighborhood cameras near the Hollywood Hills residence. Every lead hinted at something darker, but nothing yet drew a straight line to a charge. The most haunting question remained. What was the true relationship between Celeste and D4vd? Her family's statement about a boyfriend named David suggested intimacy. The tattoo connection suggested influence. But was she just a fan who crossed paths with him? Was she pulled into a secret relationship hidden from the spotlight? Or was she a victim of someone else entirely, with D4vd's car used only as a cruel stage to store the evidence? Adding to the chaos, online speculation blurred fact and rumor. Some claimed to have seen Celeste in photos with the singer. Others swore there were coded messages in his songs. Yet when investigators combed his lyrics, nothing could stand up in court. The internet, once his platform of fame, became a courtroom of its own, chaotic, loud, unforgiving. The unanswered questions kept multiplying. Why did no one report the smell from the Tesla? How could a teenager's remains stay hidden in a car for so long? Who was deleting posts and locking online communities connected to D4vd? Was this an artist spiraling into a crime? Or was he a convenient target for blame in a tragedy no one fully understood? The truth remained buried, somewhere between evidence and silence. By late September 2025, the investigation had shifted into a tense waiting game. Detectives had collected bags of evidence from the Hollywood Hills home, where D4vd once stayed. computers, notebooks, hard drives. Forensic teams were combing through every byte, searching for digital fingerprints that could connect the singer directly to Celeste's final days. Yet, despite the gruesome discovery, prosecutors had not filed charges. Without direct proof of when or how Celeste died, and without witnesses tying D4vd to her disappearance, the case remained a puzzle. That vacuum became its own battlefield. Lawyers, agents, and crisis managers circled around the singer, determined to shield him from a public execution in the media. At the same time, Celeste's family pushed for justice. Their attorneys demanded transparency, calling press conferences, reminding the world that a 15-year-old girl had been reduced to evidence bags. They questioned why a celebrity seemed untouchable while their daughter was gone. Legal experts weighed in on television. Could D4vd face charges of homicide or only obstruction? Could prosecutors prove intent or even knowledge when the body was found in his car? Retired detectives noted the unusual detail, the use of the front trunk, a hiding place few would choose unless they wanted to keep the secret buried as long as possible. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion raged louder than any gavel. Online, millions declared him guilty already. Others insisted this was trial by media, not law. The phrase "innocent until proven guilty" became a weapon on both sides. As October approached, investigators hinted that new forensic results were pending. Whether those results would point to D4vd, to an accomplice, or to someone else entirely, no one knew. But one thing was certain. When the case finally reached a courtroom, it would not just be about evidence. It would be about the power of fame, the fragility of innocence, and the thin line between art and accountability. No matter how the legal battle unfolds, one truth will not change. A 15-year-old girl is gone, and her family will never be the same. Celeste Rivas Hernandez became more than a missing person report. She became the face of a system that too often loses track of its most vulnerable, until it is far too late. Her story now lives in two conflicting narratives. In one, she is remembered as a daughter and a sister, a teenager with dreams and laughter stolen before she had the chance to grow. In the other, she is reduced to headlines about a singer's downfall, her humanity swallowed by scandal. Somewhere between those versions lies the painful reality: a life silenced, questions unanswered, justice uncertain. For D4vd, the case marks a fracture that may never heal. Whether guilty or innocent, his career has collapsed under the weight of suspicion. Every lyric he ever wrote is now re-examined under a darker light. His silence, once an artistic persona, now feels like avoidance. Even if cleared, the shadow of this discovery will follow him, a reminder of how quickly fame can turn into infamy. For the public, the legacy is a warning. We live in an era where celebrity masks can hide secrets, where adoration blinds us to danger, where truth is drowned out by speculation. The Tesla case forces us to confront the uncomfortable. How much do we really know about the people we celebrate? And what happens when the stage lights turn off and reveal something we were never meant to see? Celeste's family has asked for privacy, but their grief speaks louder than any press conference. A mother burying her child, a community mourning innocence lost. That is the legacy of this tragedy, not the tours canceled, not the headlines chased, but a single life that will never return. And as the investigation continues, one haunting question lingers over Los Angeles. Will justice for Celeste ever truly be found?